Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Sharice and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy. So I am Natalie Elliott, and Sharice is usually on with me, and her plane got delayed, and so she is trying to run through the airport so she can be here with us today. I told her, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's enough for us to talk about and do. We were supposed to talk about sales today, but I want to wait for her to come back for us to talk about that. And she may jump on the line, but I told her, there's no need to rush. And so we can talk and have a wonderful conversation this morning, because something funny happened to me at the gym today that I thought was funny, but it was like, man, that's such a good kind of lesson. So what happened today is, all right, my goal is to get to the gym between 5 and 5:10. And now with my fat little face, y'all probably don't think I go to the gym, but I've been trying. I've been consistent so far this year. And so my goal is to get to between 5 and 5:10, and then to be on the treadmill for 50 minutes. And then to be off the treadmill by 6 a.m. so that I can be at one of the little tables in the corner doing my affirmations, meditation, prayer, all of that I do, going over my things to do list for the day, looking at my schedule for the day, looking at my schedule for the week, and, just doing all of that. And that takes me about an hour and a half. Like this morning, it took me longer because I'm trying to work in a new coaching program that I'm into my morning routine and doing that homework as well. And so this guy comes up to me and he's just like, hey, I checked you out online. I saw some of your stuff. Like, I'm so excited. But I was just wondering, do you actually work out here? And so I was thinking, yeah, I work out. And so just the idea, I think, which is so funny, that he's been thinking apparently that I just come to the gym to do my morning homework or my morning assignment, and that I haven't been working out. But what it reminded me is people are so out of sight, out of mind, that if people don't see it happening, if they don't know what's happening, if you're not telling them it's happening, then they have no clue it's happening. And so I want us to look at that from a personal standpoint in our lives, because sometimes we don't understand why our family doesn't understand what's going on behind the scenes. Also, I want us to look at that with our clients, making sure they understand what we're doing behind the scenes and what it takes to operate at the level we operate at. And then also, I think we need to look at that in our sales content to make sure that we're conveying those messages. So I know with family members, sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, they don't understand the hours that you're putting in or what you're doing in those hours. And so I don't want you complaining to them, but I do want you talking to them a little bit about, hey, I spent 2 hours doing content, or I spent 2 hours doing this. So the people around you have an understanding, and when you explain things to people, then people will usually kind of be okay that, oh, you missed this event or you didn't do this. Like, if there's kind of that explanation, and just understand that if they don't see it, they don't know it, they don't understand. They have no idea. Now, let's talk about that with clients and making sure that we're understanding the process. And so one of the things that I do specifically as a therapist, is talk to my clients about the therapeutic process in the first session. And I haven't started doing this as a coach, but I'm going to work it into a coach. And so one of the things that I'll say, and sometimes I do it at the end of the session, if the session has a really good vibe, then I won't. But I'll say, okay, even though it has felt like a very chit chat session, and that I was just getting to know you, as I'm asking you these questions, I'm doing an assessment. And so if I asked you what you did over the weekend, I'm trying to hear for, do you have social outlets? Do you have friends and family that are supportive? Do you have a weekend that's filled with activities that's making your life joyful? If I ask a couple, how much time they're spending together, and what are the things that they like to do. Then I'm assessing for, does this couple have good quality couple time? We know Gottman talks about a couple needs to spend at least 5 hours together a week. And I think the latest research is saying 6 is best. So 5 to 6 hours a week. And so when I'm asking a couple, tell me about your daily routine, tell me what's going on. That's what I'm doing. I'm assessing the whole way. And so our clients might not understand that sometimes. And they may just walk through a session or be through a session and be like, man, that therapist didn't really talk to me about anything. We talked about what we did for the weekend. Okay, we did. And I tell some of my clients, like, therapy shouldn't feel that hard. It should feel like a wonderful chit chat session. Like, yes, there are gonna be some days where I have to really be the therapist and I'm really giving you a hard question and you're gonna leave crying and having to really think about your life. But most things should be, I feel like a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. And so if I can give it to you in a nice, pleasant way, and in my head, I'm assessing and I'm making the treatment plan, then that should feel nice and easy for you. But we do have to like say that out loud to our clients, kind of pull the veil back. So when I ask you this question about how did y'all meet? I'm assessing to see if you guys still have goodwill and good feelings regarding how you guys met. That's a key indicator on where the relationship is and the status of the relationship now. So if you look back and you just like, I hate the day I met them, it was the worst day of my life. Okay, that's a very poor prognosis for a couple. But if you have a couple that even if they're stressed, they're just like, hey, yeah, we met. You remember that day the sun was perfect, and you were wearing that yellow dress. Like if they can still get there, that's really goodwill. But if I'm just asking a couple how they met, they may not understand that that's part of the assessment. And so, as part of your treatment planning, as part of your talking to your clients about the value that you're bringing, especially as a therapist, talk to them about, okay, like I want our conversations to feel very easy. As I ask you different questions, please understand that I'm assessing the whole way on the quality of the relationship. And I'm in my head, I'm going ahead and starting making a treatment plan. So if I hear a couple say, man, yeah, I don't know when the last time we spent some time together. Okay, now I know immediately we need to put structure together time in their treatment planning to get them where they need to be. If I hear them say, let's see, something about some, like I may ask somebody like, so how's your career going? And if they're like, I like it just sucks and I'm terrible. I'm in a terrible place in life. Okay. I'm assessing that we might need to spend a session on how their career is impacting their marriage. And so all of these things are going on. And so our clients may not understand them and they may not know. And we may do it so effortlessly that they think they're not getting any value from us, so that we're not working. And so sometimes you're going to, like the guy thought that I wasn't working out because he didn't see it. So sometimes you do need to take the extra step and say, okay, today in our session, I assess for this, assess for this, assess for this, assess for this. As we were talking, I was able to go ahead in my head and start putting together a treatment plan. And so these are the things that I'm thinking that we're going to work on. When you talked about this, I identified this. When you talked about that, I identified that. Does this feel like 3 or 4 goals that we could focus on in therapy? And so, okay, for the hairstylists out there in the world, the Sharice's people that are listening, let's see how I would do that, how I would want a hairstylist to do that. Let me think for a second. Well, you know a hairstylist is working because they're working on your head. But as a beauty pro, okay, let me talk about the image consultant. And so she may want to say something as an image consultant about, so this morning, when I was trying to figure out what your look needed to be, I make sure I visited probably about 20 different websites. And I also was looking at your different coloring. And the colors that you needed. And I was looking at your brand logo and I was looking at all these things. And so after probably about 10 hours worth of work, I kind of pulled together this new concept. And so that's again, just a good, easy way to let your client know what you're doing from them. And it's not in a braggy way, it's in a matter of fact way, so they understand the value that they're getting. So let's say as a beauty pro, if it has if it has cost you let's say in time, or you have spent 5 hours coming up with a look, a brand, making sure that you're saying that somewhere in your conversation. I think those of us who are not designer, that we may not understand. We think you guys are doing this stuff by magic. All right. I think Sharice is coming into the room now. And so she'll be here. I think. I heard a click. So anyway, all right. And now, though, that is,
Hey,
I can't believe you got on today. I hope you didn't stress yourself out.
no, I didn't.
Okay,
It's
good.
okay. I was absolutely planning on being on, but my gate got changed.
Travel, yeah, and I know. And so I told the people you were traveling, and I think I said, I don't know what I said, but anyway, yeah. So yeah. So where you off to, or where you coming back from? Off to?
I am off to Milwaukee. I know that's odd.
Ooh.
That's an odd trip.
Well, I hope you have fun. All right, we were going to talk about sales today, but since you were not on here, I've completely switched the topic. And so, because I didn't know if you were going to show up or not, and I wanted to talk about something that happened to me at the gym this morning.
Okay.
And so, real recap. Sorry, y'all, that y'all heard this already. So, in the gym this morning, this guy came up to me at the table that I was working at, because I do like a lot of affirmations, journaling, and all of that. And I try to do it before I leave the gym. And so he talked to me for a little while, and then he was like, "But do you work out?" And I was like, "Of course I work out. Like, out of all the places that I pick to do journaling, I'm not paying the membership for nothing." And so it just dawned on me, I work out before he gets there. And so in his head, I didn't work out. And so I was talking to the people about today is working it into your conversations with your clients and even with friends and families, the things that you're doing so that they understand, because out of sight, out of mind. So the first thing I said, like with friends and family, you don't need to complain, but you might need to say, like, man, I spent like 5 hours yesterday creating content or something, so they understand you're not just like watching TV for 10 hours, Or if you are, but it's research related, because I know there's a couple of documentaries specifically that I need to watch for my sex therapy practice, saying, man, I had to watch that TV show all day yesterday to catch up, to be current for my practice, but kind of unveiling for your family and friends what you're doing. And so that was on a personal level, because when you can explain it to people, then they have a better understanding. They don't feel slighted. And then I was saying from a professional level, doing it with your clients, because if you've been doing your job for a while, you probably make it look effortlessly. And so specifically in therapy, we can have a conversation with the client and we can be assessing them and making a treatment plan in our head. And it could very well feel like a chit chat session to them. And so making sure that even at the beginning or at the end, that you're saying statements like, okay, as we were talking, I assessed. As we were discussing this, I realized that maybe we need to add this to the treatment plan or something. But talking about kind of what you're doing, like peeling behind the layers so that people have an understanding a little bit of what's going on. So kind of like making sure they know the value that they're getting, that you're bringing all of your years of experience. And because you're bringing all of your years of experience, it should feel effortlessly, but you're very much, doing your work as you're having a conversation with them. And so,
I agree. I love that.
Yeah. And then I tried to use a Beauty Pro example of maybe like as an image consultant, saying, hey, I spent 10 hours yesterday looking at all the different brands and all of your competitors coming up with your perfect look. So they understand the time that's taking place behind the scenes to create the 5 outfits that you got for them. And so from you in your field, I just made that up. So
no, it was good. It was good.
But I do have a friend who's an interior designer. And so she's like, I may be on 100 different websites to pull a room together, to figure out all the exact pieces. So I know there's a lot of time and work to go into it. And when you're on the outside, specifically, because I know I've done this with her, like, oh girl, you just do that naturally. You just do that. And I'm sure she's like, no, I spent 10 hours yesterday.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I can really, really relate to that, Natalie, because when it comes to the shopping part of what I do, while people, excuse me, people think that the beauty industry is so glamorous,
Mm-hmm.
but we're constantly, because we have to be in with the times. We have to know, like you said, what's best for my client, this particular client, and then curate something that is different. I'm gonna tell you something really funny. I think I might have mentioned this to you before, but I tell people it's only like 5 haircuts, right, that you can wear. And people are like, I want this haircut, this haircut. Everybody now is bold enough to wear a haircut with their sides shaved off, right? When there was a time, I remember when I was about the only person around me that was wearing that cut. And I did it years ago. And then now you have so many women over there, over 50, over 40 and 50 that are wearing that cut boldly. But that's one variation of a cut and of 5 cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you get to rock that cut for you, and it's up to your stylist to curate the right cut for you. So yes, we're constantly, while we're on, on social media scrolling this and the other, we're looking and we're creating and designing, because literally a cut too far up over your ear and up over a brow could destroy your look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't realize when it comes to our expertise. It's like, no, this is years of studying and realizing and making mistakes. Those color experts that you see made a lot of mistakes to get there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people suffer through some disasters to get to that level of expertise, So you are absolutely right. I feel like I'm constantly working for my clients, because I'm constantly seeing what I think will be good for someone, when it comes to color, cut, body shape, head, face shape, it's a lot. And guess what? As soon as I see someone, I'm measuring you up. There's this post out there that says, you think I'm admiring you, or you think I'm smiling at you or something, but I'm looking at your hair.
I could imagine that.
I'm looking at your whole look. So like, ooh, she need to do this. She need to do that. Just to look. And sometimes it's just small enhancements that will change the game. And I have a secret weapon that I use, and I tell people sometimes. I don't always tell them, because some people could get offended. But I know how to make you look 10 years younger in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm measuring you up the minute I come in contact with you.
That needs to be a major sales pitch right there. Look, I can make you look 10 years younger in 10 minutes. I think anybody would sign up for that. How much is that? $10,000? Okay, I'm ready to do that.
Yeah. So, but it's true. It's true. I know the secrets, and a lot of people just don't know, what it takes. And I love that, I've come to that point. And, like even with you, I bet you can size up some of your clients on a conversation or a consultation. And you can say, oh, I see where this is coming from. So now, like you said, you know how to put the treatment together.
Yeah, definitely. So that's so exciting. I gotta say, I think I finally, like, I was getting my hair done for years. I mean, of course, because I'm a Black girl, but I don't think I understand how much time and energy and training you guys did. Like, let me say the good one. Until like that, y'all have like boot camps and workshops, and that if you're dealing with a stylist that's on that higher level, that they put a lot of money into their craft. And I don't think I don't think I knew that until probably 10, 15 years ago. How much time and effort. And so back to the point, making sure that you're starting to work that into your conversations so that your clients understand the value in which you're bringing to them. Because out of sight, out of mind. They think, oh, they just doing this, they don't need this money or something. But you want them to know that, or I'd say it's probably different per industry. But for every
Yeah.
1 hour you spending with them, you're probably doing 10 hours in the background of
Yeah. Oh, for
working,
sure.
studying,
Yeah.
reading books. And so, like I was telling somebody in a random conversation, I was like, the amount of information I take in on a daily basis would probably astound some people
Oh yeah.
because it's
Oh yeah.
always and it's moved more toward kind of business and coaching, but for a while just as a therapist trying to figure out how do I move this client. And so when you figure it out and you get a different skill set, then you can apply that to all the clients, or the clients that need it. But we are really working behind the scenes, and so figuring out how to articulate that in your language, how to articulate that in your day so your clients are reminded of the value that you bring, because out of sight, out of mind, and they will
Yeah.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah. That gosh, I could say so much about that because I'll go to the root of some beauty pros insecurities and self-doubts.
Mhm.
We're that industry where our parents said, not my parents, I was blessed the kind of they let me do what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
But some parents said, oh no, you're not going to be a hairstylist. Oh
Right.
no,
Right.
you're not going to be a barber. You're not going to be a makeup artist,
Right.
And look at us today.
Yeah.
Lots of millionaire beauty pros.
Mhm.
And I remember a time when my bonus mom made me realize, and I think I've told you this before, and the audience made me realize that I made more money than my parents.
Mhm.
And I was like, whoa, at a young age, very young
Mhm.
age. But she was so good, like with helping me with understanding money and yeah, my bonus mom is the bomb. Like that's why I was able to be such a great bonus mom because I understood the assignment.
Gotcha.
She took when the first time I met her, because I met her a little late in life.
Mhm.
I was a teenager at the time when I met her. And once we got through the initial introduction of, oh, okay, she was like, oh, my daughter, my daughter. She never, ever, ever, ever called me her stepdaughter.
Oh.
Never, ever. I was always her daughter. And
Mhm.
she treated me as such
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
that day forward. So, but she is the one who helped me see my value in
Mhm.
what I do. She would
Mhm.
always compliment me in being a good businesswoman, and how much money I made and
Yeah.
how professional I was. And I was so thankful for that.
Yay.
It's one of my favorite ladies in the world.
Yay. All right. So what are insecurities that you see the most working with new beauty pros?
um, the young ones, they're not insecure at all. They have no insecurity. They are so bold. But I would say, let me go with, if you don't mind, I'm going to
Mhm.
talk both, like the OGs and the new Gs.
Okay.
So let's start with the OGs. OGs just honestly didn't know their value because it's such a hustle.
Mhm.
It's such a hustle, and you're such a servant. You're in such a servant space that you're always kind of being told what someone wants and you have to deliver it. So you can find yourself in a way until you realize,
Mhm.
your value, which, that could be in a different space. But
Mhm.
until you realize your true value a little bit later down the road, it's just like all you think you can do is hair or barber.
Yeah.
Now, while there is nothing wrong with that, a lot of us chose to go and, continue to educate ourselves in other areas, especially business. But you know how valuable a freaking haircut is? We've never, ever, ever, ever been paid our worth. And
Right.
that's why I had to really discover that you will never get paid your worth and your expertise. You just have to
Mm.
be very confident in your value, and you have to understand how to make sure you can accommodate your lifestyle and your desires with your
Mhm.
pay. you
Mm-hmm.
know, in your business, you know,
Mm-hmm.
be able to invest back in your business because no one I want you to think about that with me and everyone out in the audience. I want you to think about all the years of blood, sweat, and tears you put
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for your education?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
How
girl.
much did you pay for all those certifications?
Right.
No,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's after, you know, high school. That's
Yeah.
going into
Yeah.
college, and that's after college, and that's
Yeah.
all the degrees and the
Mm-hmm.
PhDs and all that. No one can ever really pay you your worth. So
No.
you just have to come to a space where you really truly understand your value and charge accordingly. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
something that will make you happy and fulfill your lifestyle, and also accommodate clients who understand your worth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
have an idea of your worth.
Yeah.
Now, back to the new beauty pros insecurities, I would say coming out the gate, just being a little nervous about being out amongst the industry with communication. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get into that craft,
Mm-hmm.
it's a go. They're on go go. They're on go
Okay.
go. So whether they're good or not, they are confident before they're good, which I can commend them on that because
Mm-hmm.
our generation overthinks
Yeah.
and we're good and then we're
Yeah.
overthinking and not realizing
Yeah.
how good we are, you know.
I could attest to that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
think it's the I haven't I probably have to sit and think what the newbies in counseling struggle with.
Mhm.
But it's probably that thinking they don't know enough, even though they just got a full
Yeah.
master's degree and then a full
Right.
year of internship, not knowing enough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the idea that as therapists, very oftentimes we speak to things that we have not experienced yet.
Yeah.
And so understanding that you don't have to have the experience of somebody to understand how to help them with that challenge
Yeah.
because the experience, and so I usually talk about like a broke leg. And so would
Mhm.
you rather go to the doctor who had a broke leg and then help two or three other people with their broke legs? Or do you want to go to the doctor who's never had a broke leg, but he's done 300 cases on fixing broke legs?
Right.
All right. He has established an expertise in this area and
Yeah.
how to help a person heal and get walking and functioning. 300 cases will get you there. And so having my clinicians understand that because there's no way they'll be able to experience every single thing their clients have experienced. And so because we can work, you know, depending on the facility you're working at or even the practice that you're in, you could get an eating disorder this week and domestic violence next week
Right.
um, and so there's just this so helping them come to the conclusion like we're building a different skill set. You don't have to have the experience to build a skill set on how
Yeah.
you work a person through a problem and or mindset or being stuck in their life to move to a different phase. And
Yeah.
that's the skill set that they got a whole master's degree in, and then
Yeah.
B did a whole year of internship, and then C usually they got some type of outside training on top of all of that. And so
Yeah.
I read on YouTube one time, read on YouTube. There was a YouTube video, and I really wish I would have like bookmarked it because now I can't find it to save my life. But it was saying if you have read 4 books on one subject, you know more about that one subject than 90% of the population.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I
was
agree.
like, I can that sounds right. Because if you read 4 books, you really have an understanding of kind
Mhm.
of the problem, how to conceptualize it, and how to move a person from point A to B to C.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that. And so many people are a jack of all trades and a master of none. So if you can just pick one
Mhm.
subject and get good
Yeah.
at that one subject, then you'll make yourself into an expert. And
Yeah.
then I'm watching a training and she was talking about what does expertise mean and defining it
Mhm.
for yourself
Okay.
because a lot of us have reached expert level,
Mhm.
but because it is really a thing. We can't like recall all the information we know. So we feel like we don't know anything. And so we
Yeah,
feel like we're not experts. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
really defining for yourself what an expert is so that you can move into that. And I'm going to
Yeah.
say, if you think you're weak in the area of being able to own your expertise, then get
Mhm.
some either coaching or therapy around that so that
Yeah.
you can.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if you've been doing anything, what I think 7 years is mastery, 7 years of mastery. And so if you've been doing it 7 years, you've reached mastery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's good right there. And that's why I work with women who are in the expert space, because one
Mm,
thing that I don't have to worry about is they may be a little cloudy and challenged with, okay, what do I do next? Or what do I do with all this information? But
mm-hmm,
it's like they are establishing, oh, I've been doing this 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
mm-hmm.
And I just have to kind of, remind them and pull out the
Mm-hmm.
confidence in that. Because
Mm-hmm.
especially in this new space we're in,
That's true.
Natalie, like we're in this new digital space, this new social media space, and all the young people on social media with the amazing YouTube channels and the amazing
Yeah.
Instagram channels, and they are experts. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Who have been doing
Mm-hmm.
it for 2 years,
Yeah.
and we have AI, so they can get their conversations from AI.
They surely can.
This is the conversation that I want to continuously have with Gen X and 40 plus, because a lot of these conversations and experiences are curated and AI generated. When you truly experience this and you have been servicing in this space
Yes.
for so long,
Yes. Yeah.
so we have to stand up. We got to stand up and stand on business. We
Mm-hmm.
got to stand up and really, truly own our space and what we
Mm-hmm.
know. So you're
Mm-hmm.
absolutely right as far as that expertise space, and
Yeah.
even the people who are humble about, oh, I'm no expert. Yes, you are. Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
In
And
something,
start
and
owning it.
probably a
Because if
few
you
things.
can own it, you can charge for it. But if you can't own
Yeah,
it, you're not gonna be able to charge appropriately. You're gonna get
yeah,
caught up in some money stuff
yeah,
in your head.
yeah, yeah. And so here's something that I really want the audience to hear and tap into. Okay, because
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna like dig deep for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in an expert space and you have been there for so many years and you're so good at it, you might even be burnt out with it, but
Yeah.
you are really, really, really good at it. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that's therapy. Like you need some therapy in that burnt out space.
Yeah.
It's the space you should be probably charging high ticket for, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if you are over here charging low ticket for it,
Mm-hmm.
then you're dealing in low vibration and low energy with
Yeah.
the low ticket buyers.
Yeah.
And then that's why you're burnt out and that's why
Yeah.
you're sick and tired of it. But if you were over here with a high ticket buyer who really valued your level of expertise, your experience, and what you're teaching them and imparting into them, you will have a totally different energy with what you're doing and what
Mm-hmm.
you've been doing for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll tell you, I have to admit, and this will be a very transparent moment for me. Um, there are some people who have been grandfathered, into the salon business, into the chair, grandfathered in for many
Mm-hmm.
years. And most likely at the same price for many, many, many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The energy is a bit different based on what they bring to the table for what I do for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Because most likely they're taking for granted what I do
Yeah.
for them because it's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. No. When I can charge 250, for a haircut for a new client who is tipping me $100,
Exactly. Yeah.
do the math and do the energy.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's my fault. That's my fault that I kept it
Yeah.
at that space. So I take ownership of it.
Yeah.
But I just, think about the energy. So, you know, there was a time when I had to, reframe that energy and I was like, hey, send me some new clients. And then some of them do and did. But then there were some situations that were really stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just the energy just was boring. It was boring,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not it wasn't a collaboration. It wasn't an even exchange. You know what
Yes.
I mean? And everything to me should be an even exchange. Even if
Mm-hmm.
clients are paying you, you're servicing them. I still want to walk away feeling amazing that I was able to impart what I know
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
resources into
Yeah.
them. That is what makes me happy. With what I do.
That brings up so much for me. All right.
I know.
What I think I want to say now is that there's going to be some changes that you're going to have to make with your brand and with your clients as you grow.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're going to have to let some people go because you're
Yeah.
not the same as when they met you 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 years ago. You're offering something different. Your expertise has
Yeah.
grown. You're ready to move on. And so
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some of us won't because we don't want to let go those old clients. But they've
Yeah.
been with me 20 years and they da 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 da. Okay, let's find them somebody else they can be with for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
And really being. And I remember
With
TD
love.
Jakes, yes, with love. And I remember TD Jakes had this sermon. He was like, it's not that y'all can't move forward. It's that y'all won't let go of things in the past. You're gonna have to let go to get to that next level because
Yes.
y'all just stuck. And so yes, somebody's giving you a hand up, but you won't let go what you got in the other hand to
Yeah.
be able to really pull up to the next level. And so
People
please make
pleasing,
sure.
unworthiness, you know? Yeah. It
Misguided
goes deep.
loyalty.
That's what I said. It goes deep.
Right, right.
When you start, pulling these conversations out, it is deeper than what people think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But people will say, you know, but we're deep people. We
Yeah.
go there in
Mm-hmm.
our conversations, and we go way deeper, y'all, than these conversations here. But this is limited time.
Right.
That's why we're going to have us a together retreat or conference or
Oh,
something to pull everybody
we gotta
together.
go do that.
Yeah, let everybody,
Mm-hmm.
really get out what they want to get out and get some therapy and some time,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but people stay so on the surface
Yeah.
that they can't get past things like that. And
Yeah.
that's self-awareness. Like that's the self-awareness that you need to
Mm-hmm.
tap into to say, this doesn't feel good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And why doesn't it feel good? Why am I coming to work and I don't have good energy? Why am I
Right.
burnt out? Why do when
That
I
part.
see a certain person,
Mm-hmm.
the energy isn't good?
Yeah.
How do I reframe that? How do I even
Mm-hmm.
reframe the relationship? Sometimes you don't need to let people go completely. Sometimes you
That's
just need
true.
to structure the relationship,
That's true.
just reframe it. But that's self-awareness.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And as
Yeah.
simple as um, why am I having a hard time doing this one thing? What what's going on with me?
Yeah.
And so all of that, having that doing the work, it's gonna get you there. Somebody said this stuff, and I'm really thinking about this. Like, I'm like, dang, really? And they were like, your thoughts got you to exactly where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what new thoughts do you have to adopt to get to the next level? Dang.
Yes.
What are the new thoughts I have to have to the next level? Yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
it takes acknowledging the thoughts that you're having.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
that seem common, that seem
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
that are a cycle that you don't realize aren't good for you,
Mm-hmm.
but they come. So, this is what's supposed to happen. These are my normal
Yep.
thoughts. Oh, at 10 o'clock every day, I get sad because I think about that old relationship. That's the norm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every
Yeah.
time I ride past this house, this happened to me in that house. So I go into a depression. You
Right.
know what I
As
mean?
opposed
Like,
to, how about we not ride down by the house
we're
no more?
not riding past the house. How about at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
I have some affirmations that will
Right.
bring me out of that space. That's self-awareness.
Yeah.
That's self-awareness because it's like going deep is, and I know you go here with your clients, but going deep is like you said, okay, so when he yells at me, when he raises his voice, well, maybe he really isn't raising his voice. Maybe he's getting a little more intense, but because of your abuse when you were young, someone raising him heightening or intensifying his voice, raising. So he doesn't understand that you are, why are you going off on me? I'm not raising my voice. I'm just being a little more intense or whatever you want to call it. But in simple things like that, like, why does this red sweater, why when this lady wears this red sweater, why does it trigger me? Why do I hate her when she
oh my God, all of those things.
Yeah.
Right. And really figuring it out, because, and I see this a lot of times in my clients before they start with me, is this idea that that's the way it's always been, so that's the way it's going to continue to be.
Yes.
Where we do
This was the card. This is the card I was dealt. I was dealt this card, so I'm gonna have to play this deck for the rest of my life.
Right. No.
Or this hand. Play this hand. You might not even be playing around with the deck. You're playing this one hand.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's such a okay. So y'all have the power to change.
Yes.
Even if you think you don't, you do.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking about, okay, how can I change? How can I see this differently? What can I do differently? And feel free to ask some people. I'm sure there's some people who've been watching you that's like, why they keep doing that? They could just do this instead. Like, who are around you. And so please get the information. So, okay. All right. What else is coming up for you, Sharice? And then there's one thing that came up for me earlier that I want to say randomly.
Okay, good. So what just came up for me was ask the hard questions. So I am a friend that will ask the hard questions, like friends that make people say, huh? What you mean?
Yeah.
And, for instance, I was with a friend over the weekend and we didn't have any intentions on seeing each other. We ran into each other, right? And I was like, I just asked a couple questions that were random. Like, oh, so... And it did piggyback off some conversation that the group was having. But I specifically asked the question, and it was like, that person was like, whoa, why would you ask me that? I'm like, well, just sit with it and think about it. And then everyone was like, whoa, wait a minute. I never even thought about it.
Yeah.
But Natalie, these are normal conversations that we have, you and I have in my tribe. Like, I ask the hard questions, even to myself. Like, I'm going through such a transformation in my life right now because I'm discovering like what I really want. And I have defined like my core desires, right? One of my core desires is freedom, right? So now my life is designing for me what freedom really truly looks like. And freedom for me doesn't look traditional. And it does not look like anything that anyone says you should do.
Right.
Like this is my second trip in 2 days. Like I got in yesterday and boom, bounced right back out. But I asked God, I said, God, can I travel more this year? I want to travel more. Now I didn't know it was gonna look quite like this, but I see you. Okay, I forgot. Like I did ask, and I was actually invited on one more trip that ended up not, going through. But I was like, okay, let's go, guys. I'm ready.
That's so exciting.
So ask the hard questions so that you can get the clarity that you need.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad about it. Hey, and love people enough to ask them the hard questions.
Yeah. That's a good one. Oh, that's so good. All right. So I'm going to challenge everybody. I'm going to give you a specific homework. The specific homework is to sit down and write down what your definition of success is.
Okay.
What your definition of success is.
Okay.
From earlier in the conversation, what is your definition of expertise? When will you get it? When will you have arrived? Because if we're not careful, we'll never get there. Oh, I'll never. Okay, but you've been doing it for years now, and you don't read how many books, and you still don't get there. So let's figure that out for yourself, so you can cross that line and say, okay, I have to own it now. I've crossed the line. Almost like the graduation line. Okay, I'm a graduate now. like
Yeah.
across the line. All right. So those two, what's success? What is success to you, not anybody else, to you, and write it down so you can know that for yourself, so you can feel successful. Because a lot of us will keep moving the goalpost on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we feel that's one reason sometimes we feel burnt out, because we feel like we're always working and never getting anywhere because we never celebrate a win. We just move
Yes.
goalposts. And
Yes.
so I did that when I got my house. And so I bought my house. I was really excited for like 2 seconds. And then I'm like, I got to get it paid off. And so until somebody called me out on it, but can we enjoy this? You got it real quick?
Right.
Okay. And because it just feels like, especially us high achievers or go-getters, whatever you want to call us for the day, is we will keep moving the goalposts on ourselves and create this kind of unsatisfied, I'm never getting anywhere. All right. So you're defining what expertise is, you're defining what success is. I think I'm gonna ask you also to define what's enough.
Okay. What's enough? Okay.
What's enough money in the bank? And it can be any question, any variation. What's enough money in the bank before I can go down from 5 days a week to 4 days a week? What's enough whatever in my life before I can travel every weekend? And so whatever your enough that you're striving for, write that definition down. What's going to be my enough, because before I do this or before I do that? Because some of us are waiting, but we never define what enough was.
Yeah.
If I'm waiting to get enough whatever before I start traveling, what's enough? Because there's people out here traveling every day. Go on, jet setters, y'all do the thing. And so something I want to pivot a little bit for the last couple of minutes and say this, because it just came up in my speech. One of y'all might need to hear this today, a little while ago, is yes, there are a lot of new ways to market out there. A lot of new ways. AI is making marketing very easy for a lot of new people. Good old fashioned word of mouth still works though. And it still works and converts amazingly. And so don't get overwhelmed that you're going to lose all your business because AI is going to take it. Don't get overwhelmed because everybody else is going to outmarket you. Don't get overwhelmed at all. Good old fashioned networking and word of mouth will work. Now, I do want to make sure you have a little bit of structure around your referrals, which is simply, like Sharice just said 5-10 minutes ago, asking people, hey, can you refer somebody to me? That can be your referral structure. Some people, until you ask, they're not going to think about it because they're going to think, oh, she full, she good. Matter of fact, she was busy. I don't even know if she wanted any more clients.
Oh,
and
that
you're
right
thinking,
there.
right?
Yes.
And so it can be simple. You don't have to have an AI ran marketing plan. You don't. You can keep it simple and you can do old-fashioned word of mouth, but I do want you to have a little structure around that. So to make sure that we are doing that we're in action, but don't get overwhelmed with all of the new AI marketing and everything. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And be aware of what's happening with that and how valuable the tool is.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get overwhelmed.
Correct.
Be aware, but not overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's exactly
it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things where how you look at your friends who aren't on social media. Now some of them I understand, no biggie. Because you don't need it. Some people don't need it at all.
Right.
But the people who do need it, if you are complaining about not making enough money or the amount of money that you want to make to make a certain move, networking, like you said, word of mouth is a great space to use social media.
Yep.
Okay. The word of mouth is, okay, hey, I'm looking for 5 new clients to take through a program. I'm looking at 5 new clients. I'm going to do a 3-hour workshop on Saturday. I'm looking for 5 women. And if you want to bring a guest, you can bring a guest, and we might have 10 or 12 people, but that's word of mouth.
Yep.
And that's on social. So that kind of doubles your reach.
Yeah, it does.
So that's the type of marketing that I talk to my clients about, because I'm not a marketer, but it's like you have to find the marketer in you.
Yeah.
and find a way to do it your story, your style, your way.
Mm-hmm.
Like figure it out for you. But you have to become a salesman and a marketer if you are in business. I'm sorry.
True. True.
One way or the other.
And if you're having a hard time with that, the mindset one of my coaches gave me a long time ago was, and she just told a story, like if her pipes burst, well, I say if my pipe burst in the middle of the night, I need to know how to find a plumber. Okay. That's a need that I have. I would have needed that plumber to have a website. I gotta find you. I'm desperate. I gotta find you. And so you could simply think about marketing as making sure that people can find you when they need you. That's enough to move you forward. And that made it feel different for me then, especially like as I'm like trying to build a coaching business, is thinking, okay, there's a clinician in the middle of Idaho who is lost and overwhelmed, and she needs me. And so she needs to know how to get in contact with me. And so it's my responsibility to make sure that she knows that I'm here for her. Just like it's the plumber's responsibility to make sure I know how I can find him, so he needs to have all of the various things that a person would search for in the middle of the night. So first thing we'll go to the internet. So he needs to have some type of internet presence with some type of 800 number on there, or any 100 number on there that's going to get me to a person that I can say, come help me now. And so that's the same thing we want you doing for your clients, being available. So when they need you, they know how to find you and they can find you easily. And that's what I want you to think of your marketing as. All right, my dear. I think that's it. I gotta say, I love that. Is that a portrait or just a wall mural or what?
It's a wall. I was like, I'm matching you.
Right? That's probably why I love it so much. Oh, it's a whole. Oh,
it's a wall. It's a wall. I had to look and see myself what it was.
Talk about that's so funny. So anyway, all right. You travel safely. Call me if you need me. I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Be good. Bye-bye.